Hello, my name's Laura Bowen, and I'm going to share some weekly guidance with you for this week, the 21st of June till the 28th of June. I'm using my self-published card deck, the Southern Cross Oracle. I've just drawn 3 cards this week. Now, it's been a big week for me and my family. There's been a whole lot of circumstances that we couldn't have foreseen happen that has set not only us but the whole community that I live in affected us all quite deeply. The 3 cards I've chosen this week are all very powerful cards. I'm not surprised at all with the reading that I have for the coming week. But it's a universal there's some universal concepts here that I think are really helpful for everyone. First up, we've got clapsticks. Now, for those of you who don't know what clapsticks are, they're a musical instrument that have been used forever by traditional Aboriginal Australians, and they're made out of 2 pieces of wood which are banged together, okay, very rhythmically. The noise, though, is quite unique as it carries quite well. It reverberates out, and it's a noise that you can feel in your heart, in your body, right down in the depths of your soul. You can actually feel it, and it moves you. Okay, it's very tribal. Now, one of the meanings with clapsticks is the idea of reverberation. It's the idea of that ripple effect. The idea that what happens here not only moves out and affects other people's, but it's not only now, it kind of transcends space and time. It's that connection to all and future and past events. So when you're in that magical dance, that ritual component, there, it really does connect to a whole lot of things. It connects to our ancestry, it connects to our future selves. It's been used for a whole lot of purposes. It can be used for ritual, it can be used for cleansing. The main thing is, though, it really is a way to get right back down to the core, and that old kind of energy of moving with nature, connecting with nature, connecting with ourselves. It is one that clapsticks are really good when we're going through some kind of major life purpose, like some kind of coming of age or a ritual that we don't often nowadays celebrate. So at times of like major changes, transformation, deaths and stuff, some kind of ritual where you just sit and repeat and you let your body rhythmically move through the emotions is actually really important. Ritual as a practice is something that we really don't use enough in our modern world, and something that can be really, really healing when we are moving through major events. You need to recognize, you need to acknowledge what is happening to you and make some kind of little ritual for what you're going through. It can be as simple as lighting a candle. It can be really complex too. It could be a few days, it could be a week, where you honestly honor what is happening in your life or in the life of those around you, and purposely acknowledge those changes and those emotions. The next card that I chose was Bandy. Now, Bandy is all about balance. It's a nocturnal snake that is quite small. They're only about this big, and they make the most amazing arches and curls and turns with their body when they're trying to get away from danger. They shine in the moonlight. The white patches on the snake actually are really luminous, and it's exactly the same amount of white stripes and black stripes. They look very balanced, very even. Their meaning to us is that there will always be black and white. There will always be dark, night. There'll be these opposing opposites that just seem to be so at conflict with each other, and yet are so needed for us just to have. You can't know true happiness without also experiencing great sadness, and there is a cycle and a balance to the way we have these in our own life. You will know yourself in your life that you've gone through stages where you feel like you're so high and you know, bulletproof, and then there's other times where you literally, it takes every ounce of what's inside you to actually just get yourself up out of bed and to face the day ahead of you. And there's not necessarily the other thing with this concept of light and dark, it's also right and wrong. Sometimes we might think that there's, you know, this is right, this is wrong, but that's really a personal thing. there will be always opposition. There will always be people who have different views, opposing ideas. In our own life, we'll have to balance this amazing amount of opposing forces that come towards us. We'll be happy, we'll be sad. The only advice I can give you is to embrace each emotion. Like I said with the ritual, really, really pull deeply from inside you those emotions that you're feeling and acknowledge them. Understand that they will balance out, even if it feels like you're going through, you know, the hardest thing you've ever done. Understand that very soon you'll move through that, and that will be something that you've then experienced. It will never be that hard again. It'll be something that the second time round you have more wisdom, more strength, and more idea of how you yourself will be able to move through things. The third card I chose today is a Walkabout. Now, for those of you who know me, you will know that I very rarely wear shoes. I actually hate shoes. I love bare feet. I love to feel the earth beneath my feet. I love to feel the different seasons as they rise up through the earth through my feet. I love the warmth of the ground in summer. I love the fact that that warmth stays even at night. We're in today's our winter solstice here in Australia, and you can feel the chill in the earth as you walk. If you get up early enough, there's frost on the grass, and you can actually feel the crunch, which is very similar to autumn with the autumn leaves, and you crunch along. There's definite purpose in the steps I take when I walk, and that's something that everyone can do if you really want to just connect with your natural environment and be able to see and hear the messages that it has for us. The first thing you need to do is you need to get out there. You need to, just go for a walk. Take your shoes off and feel the grass beneath your feet. Feel all the sensations that gives you. Do you feel grounded? Do you feel confused? Do you feel like it's something you don't do enough of? And listen to what it's saying. If you see birds, if you see ants, if there's insects around you, if you see any animals, take note in your head. Just observe what it is you see. You don't need to know the reasons for them. You just need to make the acknowledgement that they were there. Okay. The other thing that we need to do is we need to give our natural environment the chance to speak to us. Sometimes we have a responsibility to our natural environment. We have a responsibility to keep it clean and to help it if it needs us. And the only way we're going to know if there's an imbalance or if something isn't right is if we actually go out and spend time in nature. So as you're walking along, if you see rubbish, it is really nice to pick it up. If you are out and you see an injured bird or an injured animal, find someone who can look after it. Call wires. We have this custodianship of the land, and that's something that as an Aboriginal Australian I've always thought, but it's not something that's just for us. All of us have a custodianship for this land. We all need to look after it. We all need to be responsible for its well-being, and we will get rewarded then with that exchange of energies. Okay, if you go out and you spend time in nature on a regular basis, you will start to see and observe so many little messages that you might not have met before, and that is the start of that connection. That is you yourself being able to benefit from your natural environment, and it will benefit from you. You can also put energy out. You can help it. You can observe it, and you can move with it, and that connection is so important. I also picked one last card because I wasn't quite sure where this was all going and what it was that we really needed to do this week. I got the Moth, which I think, along with balance, reminds us that we all have very very different emotions bottled up in this one person. We have dark sides. We have the part that we like everyone to see. I know personally there is quite a few things about my person that I am not comfortable with, that I try wherever possible not to show other people, because I don't know how to deal with it yet, so I don't believe anyone else should. That shadow self, those parts of us that we prefer not to see and we prefer not to show others, are actually really important, and they can teach us a lot about ourselves. Personally, I've had to do a few things in the last few months that are really scary for me, things that I would normally put aside and not have to do, but I really want to change where I'm at and where I'm headed, and so I need to do things differently. And having to look at that shadow self, having to work out where this fear of everything different and anything I haven't tried before comes from, and face that and understand that I have to move past that fear. I have to allow other people to see parts of me that I wouldn't normally show if I want to be authentic and real. So I think the big thing this week is to understand that you are connected to your natural environment. You are also connected to everyone that you come across in your life, and even people that you might not ever meet might have an invisible connection to you. So when you're doing your everyday things, when you're going about your life, just be aware that what you do does affect other people, and that doesn't mean that you have to always be conscious of them. It just means that you have to take responsibility sometimes for what it is you do and what you choose to do, and be strong and honest and come from a place of love. Connecting with nature is the big one that you can do this week. If you can get outside, if you can walk around in your natural world, if you can pick up rubbish, if you can just, there'll be a lot of healing to come from being outside and listening to your natural environment. Thank you so much for joining me today. Goodbye.